Well, good day and welcome once again to Moments with Dr. Steve. I'm Dr. Steve Bonenberger. We welcome you to our program. We welcome you into our world, and we're grateful that you invite us into your world. We're building a global cultural conversation that is based on the creative firepower of at least 1 million creatives. We believe this is your hour, and we use our material as model, not that it's like exemplary, but rather that this is one man's lifelong effort to be involved in the creative process with hiccups and interruptions and disagreements and critics bashing and simple logic and few resources. One man's battle to be creative and to mine and extract and to define and push forward that God deposited inside of me. And on this day, we focus in our world upon my very first novel I ever wrote, called Through Gates of Fire, Wingless Flight. Wingless Flight is my definition of faith. And in this great book, we bear the tale of Flash Bastion. And I love this man, and you're going to get to know him as we press along. But in this powerful moment, we talk about God's reparatory. As we march along through the initial chapters of Through Gates of Fire, Volume 1, Wingless Flight, we find a recent and wannabe recovering alcoholic troubled. He questions how. How can he live a sober life? How can he ever reclaim the broken and shredded image and reputation that he has earned with a life that has been that of a worthless drunkard? How does he find the courage to show his sober face, exposed in public? How does he hide the shame and embarrassment and personal recrimination? How does he do that? How does he remain and retain his conscience in light of his past behaviors and his atrocious and often mendacious and very harmful behaviors and direct actions? How does he retain his sobriety and keep sober living as his priority and as his mainstay and life maker and life marker? How does he care for this Messianic child, Flash Bastion, that has been deposited and dropped into his life? How does he do this in a proper and protective manner? And how does he sustain that for a life? How does he earn his own keep? He has not held a job in over 2 decades. How does he look his own wife in the eye after the manner in which he has treated her and despoiled her and really robbed her of the worthy life that she deserved? How does he do this? How does he manage God's spoken and felt experience against his own personal self-revulsion? The caretaker Tommy heads to St. Gabriel's, which is a working class church, early in the morning to pray and to confront God and to abandon this lost cause of him actually being able to live this new, redeemed, restored, recovered life. Addicts and sobriety and sober living. I have lived long enough and I have worked long enough with addicts to know that the above scene is very real. I've walked through enough personal sewers that stink to high heaven, with personal frailties and relapses and wonky belief systems and stops and starts and scars and mars, to know that addicts struggle with the entire notion of, let alone the supporting lifestyle that sustains sobriety. This is my world. I understand their condition. No, I am not an addict. But my effort, my lifelong effort, and this has been a maximum effort in my behalf, always is to press the addict into the wine press of sober living. Once again, regardless of their failties and frailties and fractures. Why? Because alcohol and drugs shatter and destroy and ultimately kill human spirits, and they rend and rip families apart. For me, sobriety and full and complete sober living are non-negotiables in the therapeutic interventive work that I do. What's interesting is that in Tommy's case, God intervened again, despite this man's misgivings, in a direct and magnificent way. And in our next visit to Through Gates of Fire, we're going to follow Tommy into the tiny chapel and see how God intervenes and invaded his life again for you and your family. Sobriety and sober living are your primary goals in solitary option. Solitary option. For you, sobriety and sober living mean and require total and complete abstinence. No buffer zone here. For you, sobriety and sober living should then be the moniker and hallmarks for every single living congregation of saints. Pastors, pay attention here. For you, sobriety and sober living should be the imprint every child has in their collective memory of their mother and father and their ongoing and consistent and continuous behavior. If you struggle with addiction and recovery issues, head over to stalegius.org, pick up a copy of The Way Out or some of my other work and begin to learn of and lean into and live out the precepts of personal reinvention and personal recovery. We are building a global cultural conversation. Our conversation includes those who fall from grace time after time, and those who are welcomed by those of us who believe that proper sea legs are yet available and you are capable of earning them. Till next time, I'm Dr. Steve Bonenberger, and this is Moments with Dr. Steve. Travel far.